Greetings to you all, and as always, I welcome you to this broadcast, one that is extremely critical, much needed, and as always, you know that I'm very straightforward with you, always quite honest and forthright. I believe that that's the only way I should function in any environment. I do not believe in being deceptive, in obfuscating or hiding the truth. I believe that it's imperative for someone's character to transition and transcend through all facets of their life. I do not become somebody else. And we're different personas depending on which room I find myself in. Greetings to you all. This is a broadcast that you need to share because it's newsworthy and very important. This speaks to the Guyanese reality. Had I not been actively involved in our political experience regarding elections of 2025, I would say that some people are being dishonest, lying, untruthful, mendacious, depending which word you want to use, when I would have received certain reports. Because what I'm experiencing here has to be extraterrestrial from another planet. This cannot be Guyana. This is not the Guyana that I know it to be. When as a young man, I admired Lyndon Fobb Sampson Burnham, how he stood against nations to say that you're not going to come here and just do what you want. When he stood to say that we are not going to bow and cower to any threat. Instead, we shall be self-sufficient and we shall weather any storm. I was a child, proud to march on the streets 3, 4, 5 miles, marching for independence rallies or Independence Day, marching May Day, marching in national service when I was in grade 6. I had no issue with that because I was a child who read a lot. And I would read newspapers, I would read novels, I would read magazines, so I knew exactly what was happening. This is not the Guyana that as a 51-year-old man, I expect to live. The Guyana Elections Commission, JCOM, as it's known to be, has been vested with constitutional power, and that power was given to them by two political parties, the PNC and the PPP. It is important for us to take note of the fact that JCOM and its functioning has everything to do with decisions made by legislators. Those are what you call members of parliament. And in these elections of 2025, I would like to remind you that the Guyana Elections Commission has been given authority to function by parliamentarians. When you're choosing who should go to the House of Assembly, you're only choosing a presidential candidate and a prime minister candidate. The leader of the list makes that decision. And whoever that leader chooses to put in the House of Assembly, they become legislators. They make laws. And these people made the law by which JCOM is functioning. The first disappointment that I have with our legal system, and I spoke to this for years, but I echoed it now, is where in order for anyone Okay, so we're back. In order for an individual to enter the House of Assembly, that person must compete or participate in 5 other regions. 5 other regions. It is so insane that someone who is in Region 7 or Region 8, that individual would have to have 20 plus candidates in 5 other regions in order for that person to have one seat in the House of Assembly. How could this even make sense? The people who claim to be legislators, lawmakers. So the law of this country disenfranchises from the onset and the outset. It is geared towards disenfranchising Guyanese from participating in an election in which they have the right to represent the various regions and communities by request of people within the same. If someone is known to be a very strong leader in Region 7 or Region 8, that person, Region 1, Asakata or somewhere, that individual cannot represent his region. Imagine that. Now, when I examined this further, we decided that we are going to stand very strongly as Forward Ghana movement, and we're going to not bow to a system that was created to ensure that parties are not, they're not small, they're new, that new parties would essentially not stand a chance because of the law, because of the Constitution. Do you understand that the Representation of People Act, ROPA, as it's called, is framed to essentially disenfranchise new parties? Air finale in May, a country report reached out to somebody in JCOM and inquired as to whether they were ready to how soon can they hold elections. The talk from the PPP camp was November. All along, that's the people, because it was said election will be held in November. But once Irfan realized that Azizul Mohammed was gaining significant ground, he knew, well, those handlers knew, that the only way to disrupt that process and to prevent the People's Movement and others from gaining momentum would have been to create what is called a bureaucratic rigging process, using the Constitution, using the Representation of People Act to rig an election before it even starts. Rigging means to cheat. It doesn't mean to hide ballots somewhere. It speaks of cheating. So what they have done is they sought to have a process whereby parties that are new would be pressed for time. Because remember that the People's Progressive Party and the PNC, they know exactly what the law states and how to use it against new parties. So what do? You vote to say that, okay, in order for one individual, as I say again, to represent in one region, that person must participate in 6. That alone creates an issue. Then they made a request that you have nominators. So that's the signatures people go hunting for. Then you have to have candidates for one person in 6 regions, at least, to end up on the national ballot. Failure to do such will result in your not making it to the ballot. Forward Ghana movement, VPAC, or Forward Ghana, I should say VPAC and the People's Movement, coalesced, decided that we work together because we need a different Ghana experience for this country. And given all the challenges that were being faced by Ghanaians, given the fact that Adriana Young, 11-year-old Guyanese girl, was murdered and put in a pool, given the fact that we saw agencies of the state arise to fight Guyanese people, to call them terrorists, put us in jail, inventing laws that if you lie, you're a terrorist. According to them, if you lie, you're a terrorist. Seeing all of that, I felt that Guyanese were ready, as they said they were, to stand. Here is where it gets tricky and also concerning. When we were in the field, personnel were in the field, and I reported other parties as well. There are Guyanese who are saying to us that they don't want their names to be seen anywhere because of the fact that they have a contract or they're working somewhere and they know that if their name is seen anywhere, that the People's Pathetic Party will act. Guyanese, do you hear me? Do you understand what perception is? When Guyanese can look at a political party to say that if we even choose to put our name as a nominator, somebody in JCOM will make it known that we signed for somebody else. And then we could lose our job. We could not have another contract. My daughter who works in X location can be removed and sent somewhere else. Is this the Guyana you want to live in? Where to even sign your name to say that you choose to nominate a party or a candidate, you have to be afraid? Is this what you want your children to inherit? This is not hearsay. This is first-hand conversations I'm telling you about. Where people will say to you that we will vote for the People's Movement. We will vote for Forward Ghana Movement. We'll vote for VPAC. We love the fact that you three of you of coalesced, you've shown maturity. Nobody's fighting to be any presidential candidate and fighting for anything. We like this. But we cannot put our name on this list because I'm a businessman. They wouldn't buy anything from me anymore if the PP finds out that I'm a candidate. Is that what you want to live in? I therefore have come to you to present to you a real opportunity for a revolution to protect us as a people. Here is what I'm saying to you. Some of you don't understand what it means to be a candidate, which is why you believe that you'll be in the forefront, you'll be on the stage, and then Bar Jaggi will come for you, which for me, as a man, and I hope there are more men in Guyana, it doesn't matter to me. Bar Jaggi is the weakest male I know in this country. He's a fearful person. That's why he behaves the way he does. He cannot stand by himself in any room without 55 bodyguards. And that's a fact. He's wimpish. But here is where you have the opportunity to fight without weapons. What you do is you should understand, and that's what we have done for all these years. You should be understanding of what it is you would do as a person. If there are 20 seats, I'll just use a figure for you. If there are 20 seats on the regional Democratic Council in the 10 regions, some have more, I'm just using a figure that's easy for you to take note of. If there are 20 seats, okay, what happens is that based on the number of votes that you have in the regional election, the two elections here, you have the general election that will be where you have members of parliament and who will govern the country in the House of Assembly, and then you have the regional elections. So there are two sheets, two ballots you'll have, one for general, one for regional. There are two sheets of paper. One sheet will be for general, that's where you have the members of parliament. One sheet will be for regional, that's where you have regional democratic councils or councillors. In the 10 regions, let's say in the 10 regions, you have got in one region 20 seats. In the regional democratic council, not the House of Assembly, when you ask to put your name as a candidate, anybody, what it means is that when they count the ballots for the regional election, if PNC or APNU receives 10 out of 20, PPP has, let's say, 7 out of 20. That's 17 seats. And Forward Ghana Movement has 1 or 2. Wayne has 1. Don't get mad, I'm just saying something. What they will do is from the 20 names that you would have submitted on that list to JCOM, you, the party that your name is appearing on that list, can pick any one of 20 people. They don't have to pick you. Understand what's happening. What they will do is they will choose from, because no party is expected to have 20 seats as a landslide. Please learn. So you submit 20 names, but in reference to who will go to sit in the chair of a councillor. That would not be done for every person on the list. If Forward Ghana Movement is contesting in Region 6, and in that region we have 15 or 5 or 10 names or seats in Regional Democratic Council, out of 20 names, you could only choose 5 because you only have 5 seats. So 15 people would not be on that list. So you can say, well, I really don't want to be on the list. I just want to ensure that I put my name there so that we can stand. You get that? You just want to put your name so that you could, the party you support can enter and challenge, because this political system in Guyana is a rigged system. It's a dangerous system for development because it is a system that's geared for only two major parties to thrive. For 50 plus years, the system was never meant for new parties. But when JCOM was born after 1992, it became 10 times worse, or before, for that election period. Once JCOM was given birth to, it became very dangerous. It is my hope, as explained to you further, that you understand that we have to rebel against a system that's orchestrated, that's constructed by people who want to ensure that they remain in power against the people. That's what we have to do. So you simply say, put my name. You're not going to be chosen to be a candidate in there if you don't want to be. but put my name so that we can have those who are leading us, those who are going to stand and represent us, have the chance to do so. So it is not JCOM who's choosing who goes to the list or who goes to the place. So every party, every group has a leader. That's called the leader of the list, which is going to change as well. That's why we have to get in the House Assembly to change these things. Every party has a leader. That leader is called the head of the list. Now, the head of the list will submit to JCOM. These are the people. So out of 25 names that you submitted, and you have 3 seats, 3 out of those 25 will be chosen from your own party. So you could tell the leader, I don't want to go there. And that's it. You with me? But if you do not have the required number of candidates, you cannot enter the elections. That's what our law has done. That's what our lawmakers have done to us. And they had no problem with it. And we have been saying for years that this has to stop. This has to stop, and it has to stop now. At some point, Ghanaians will have to participate in changing your political culture. If you do not do it, this will happen for the next 40 years. You'll just be switching between PNC or PPPs, PNC, PPP, and that's how you just vacillate between the two, and it's okay. But this vacillation won't work if you don't understand how to change your political destiny. The worst that you can be is afraid to even have representation made for you. I bring you for the truth. It has been brought to my attention. It has been brought to my attention that individuals, individuals are being told by some magical way, oh, your name, you're a candidate on the list for win. How do the PPP know whose name is where? You all realize what's happening here? The more you back down from dictators, the worse they become. The more you stand up to dictatorship, the weaker it becomes. The more you stand down from it, the stronger it becomes. The more you stand up to it, the weaker it becomes. The question is, do you want to have another 5 years of dictatorship? It will only get worse. I am telling you this as not just the leader of a group in reference to the People's Movement, a part of a coalition, the Ford Ghana movement. I'm telling this as a preacher of righteousness. You cannot survive another 5 years on the PPP. They will get 10 times worse. The fact that Ghanaians are not happy, free, eager to make representation for their people because they fear what tyrants will do, or wannabe tyrants, I call them, not even qualified to be true tyrants. They just use agency to the state to get after you. The fact that Ghanaians have to be afraid to do this tells you of your experience. And those of you who are afraid know that you don't like what you're feeling. You don't like the fact that you want to do something but you can't because you're scared. Do you want another 5 years of this? Or would you say to people, just put my name on the list? I don't have to go to the council, but just put my name there so you can qualify to represent us and make the change. Let's have a heart-to-heart conversation. I didn't come in to play with you. I came to share with you what I consider to be very disheartening and quite concerning, since I never thought that Ghana would get to this stage. I never thought the Ghana could get to a stage whereby people, adults, would be afraid to have their name mentioned as a candidate. What do we do? What do you do? I'm telling you the solution to this. We have to change our political experience by having a new political party with a different political vision. Not just replace somebody and give you a manifesto and a speech. No, there has to be a different political vision for this country where this doesn't happen again, where this is changed. Once you are afraid, the result would not be good for you. John, you can type the question for me, please, my brother. Retype the question. I cannot, for some reason, StreamYard doesn't allow me to scroll through these comments because I'm trying to monitor it from somewhere else, monitor it from another platform. Are you prepared to deal with this for another 5 years? That's all I'm asking you. Or are you prepared to do what is the most simple thing you can, which is simply say, put my name as a candidate, but I don't have to stand in a council. I don't have to sit in a seat. I will just represent. What would you do? What would you do? Would you wait until something else happens that's worse than Adriana's situation, then you try to get those of us who saying to you, we prepared to stand because you asked us to stand. We prepared to deal with this. There's your kind of access to represent you then. We cannot change JCOM if we do not change the leading parties in the country. Just understand that. So that is why you're not finding me coming here and bashing Wayne and Tom against this and that. I don't do that because it doesn't make any sense to me. I spoke about what the PNC has done because that's the truth. But I'm not fighting Obi Norton. You wouldn't find me doing that. The only enemy I have in these elections are the PPP because they're the worst that's ever happened again. This crop that Barjagir leads are the most dangerous band of criminals that has ever been born in politics in this country. So you wouldn't get that from me. You won't find me coming here and fighting Nigel Hughes and fight. I don't do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. We have one common enemy. And you've heard me say this for the longest while, since with Melly Mel situation, that we need to unite. We need to coalesce. We need to work as one. I said this repeatedly. We need to have one massive coalition to deal with this. It's still my heart. It's still my deepest conviction. We have to beat the system and then change the system. So the leader of the list chooses who goes to the House Assembly. It is not, to put it this way, it is not whereby the leader in the case of for Ghana, for example, where one person says, well, you wouldn't, well, you wouldn't. We don't function like that. We've got principles involved, and all of us lead at a round table. So we sit, Amanza, Darwin, me, and the others who come into who will be a part of this. Actually, the coalition is expanding. And we're going to say who are the best persons, who best suited for this, who would like to do this, who wouldn't, and that's how we function. That's what I'm saying to you. I am so relaxed in dealing with the people with the For Ghana movement that I feel at home. Since I don't have from them, it's my way or no way. I don't get from them, well, I will choose who goes. No, 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 no. Okay. I will show you tomorrow how the chair of JCOM has, according to hardcore, irrefutable, undeniable evidence, voted for the PPP since 2024 or before it. The chairman of JCOM has voted with the three PPP commissioners on every occasion except one, when it was a foregone conclusion, you didn't have to vote for that. Just take note of that the chairperson since 2022, 3, 4 has voted against the opposition, voted against biometrics, voted against so many things. And that should have been an announcement to you all. Take note. We must overcome at all costs. There's nothing called small parties, Joe, Johan quotes or weeks. I didn't want to do this, but I'll just respond to you all one time. You do not speak about small parties. What is a small party? If a party is new, for example, We Invest in Nationhood is new. Forward Ghana Movement is new. How do you know how many members do we have? Do you know that? You don't. What's a small party? There is no constitutional term called a small party. There is no term in the Representation of People Act. There is no legal jargon called a small party. So why do you use the terminology? It is condescending and it doesn't send the right image to people. Would it not be unfortunate to know that when the PNC was born, or what happened here, it was a small party because it was new. When Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, my hero, political hero, when Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham and Cherry Barrett Jagan formed the PPP, please note that it was a small party because they were new. Do you understand that? So what is a small party? Well, if your reasoning stands to be true, then the PPP, when it was formed by Burnham and Cherry Jagan, it was small, wasn't it? So how did they win? The 133 days in office, how did they win? When Burnham went and formed the PNC, it was small according to your reasoning, wasn't it? So how did he win? Education is key, my people. Education is key, my people. What we need are healthy parties, mature parties, patriotic parties. That's what we need. Your name as a candidate adds to the strength of your representatives being able to enter the House Assembly and represent you well. This is how we function. I believe firmly in Guyanese freeing themselves of systems that are meant to destroy you and control you. I do not ever subscribe to weakness. I do not subscribe to easy roads. I subscribe to revolutions that change the course of a nation's destiny or a nation. That's what we do. We blaze trails. We make or cut paths. That's called pioneering. We don't follow trends, which is why I love new parties, because you're courageous enough to at least go against the grain. This is what we shall do. And this is what I have confidence in Guyanese understanding tonight. That you will not ask to be a candidate so you can stand at a rally and speak. You won't have to speak anywhere. That's the kind of thing people are telling you. You don't have to do that. Nobody would know that you're standing somewhere to speak at a rally. It's not the case. You're simply adding your name to a list so that you can have strength from your leaders or give strength to your leaders to stand and represent you. I presented you with, hopefully, clarity, and I repeat it for the sake of those who understand. When you ask to be a candidate in the regional election, what it means is that you're simply putting your name on a list of 25, 35, 40 people. Just put your name as one of those people. It is not the national elections. That's for regional elections. Region 10, Region 1, Region 5, Region 6, Region 4. That's regional election. The number of votes that the party receives in the regional election is how we determine the number of seats, the number of persons then you will take from the list of 25 to put in the council. But if you don't have the number of names that are required, then you would not participate in that region at all. Understand that? So that is what we're asking you to do. Okay? So let's do that. And we look forward to a healthy, strong, powerful movement that's made by people who understand what the fight is all about. So we all do well until we meet again. I just wanted to share this with you and look forward to us being in your communities, standing, walking, speaking with you, because we have no fear of interaction and being questioned. All right? Do well. So, John, I see your name. In order to be a candidate, you have to live in the region in the country for at least 6 months. That's one. You must be registered in the area. It's a regional candidate, not like Priya and one who was living in region 4, but is a candidate for region 3. No, no, no. I think that's what they said in Parliament. No, 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 no. We don't do that over here. So the region you're in and you live in is the region you shall represent if asked to do so. So join me tomorrow. We'll talk. I'll show you evidence of Claudette's behavior. And I dare JCOM to write one word against what I've said when I'm finished with it. You'll do well. See you soon.